This is Banc de Binary's week ahead report for December 3rd to 7th. Tell me, Spanish unemployment figures are out on December 4th, with Spain's jobless rate at 26%. Do you see a further rise in unemployment to pressure the euro?
There will be another rise. A lot of the analysts are expecting it to hit near 27, but there's a lot of movement and a lot of things going on in the background that's affecting the euro. Everyone's expecting that the jobless data, the unemployment data is going to be negative. So it may have a little effect, but with what other things are going on in the markets in terms of the sovereign debts and the bond values for the Greek bailout and so on and so forth, should stabilise it anyway. So I don't I don't see it having a major effect really.
You think it'll be offset by more positive sentiment on other data releases?
Yeah, well, obviously the politicians came to a final 11th hour resolve as we expected them to on the Greek bailout.
Yes.
Bonds did increase. That put a lot of pressure on the success or the viability of the way they came to the agreement with the Troika.
Okay.
But everything seems to be panning out quite well now. So look, that's going to take a bit of time for it to flow through in the macroeconomic environment so that jobs data will be improved. But the sentiment is definitely there. So even if it's negative, I don't see it having a big issue.
Okay. Canada's overnight rate is forecast at staying unchanged at 1%. Do you agree this is likely?
Very much so, really.
Yeah.
You've got Carney's just left, in the process of leaving to join the Bank of England. Whoever his successor is going to be, he's not going to want to rock the boat too much. He's got to win political power within the group themselves. Canada is very much tied to inflation. They have their 2% mark of inflation. The OECD came out and revised basically a good outlook for their economy growing over the 2013. That may indicate an increase of inflation. So we're going to wait and see that data. But the Canadians tend to be very hawkish, so if inflation is a question, they will increase rates. Okay. But for now, wait for the news and sit back.
Let's take the scenario that it does raise its rate. How do you think it would affect its position against the USD?
Whenever a bank increases its interest rates, it always has an effect to increase the value of that particular currency. But there's so many things going on. I mean, obviously Canada, a lot of the value in their currency comes from the fact that they're the biggest supplier of oil to the US. So again, with everything that's going on in the US, there are so many different indicators that are going to play that out. It will have a positive effect on the value of the currency against the major pairs, but against the dollar, we'd have to wait and see what happens with the dollar really.
Okay, all right. US unemployment rate is forecast at 7.9%. What's Banc de Binary's outlook on this?
It's quite a complicated one to really get your head around, to be honest. With the lead up of the the elections, there was a lot of belief that the low unemployment rates were slightly massaged. I mean, that's kind of coming through now when we see that the revisions to those rates are higher. Certain indicators have come out on a metro scale within the US that have been positive, but I expect it to kind of be a little bit flat while everything pans out. NFP is obviously coming out at the end of this week, which is going to be the big indicator. Last time was pretty positive. This time I expect it to be a little bit flat, as I said. So.
Okay. What are the other stories affecting this week's binary options trading?
Well, the big thing, as always, is sit down, strap in and prepare to make money on NFP. The opportunities aren't as big as normal because our forecasts are slightly flat. But it will always have a knock-on effect with correlated trades around the world. Okay. So all of my VIP guys are getting set up to really trade Friday and make sure that everything is intact for them to profit.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.